Hey, Hardliners, this is Kevin Bradshaw coming in tonight. We got Keith Kellum out right now. He's doing his JP duties right now. But we do have Miss Sarah Peppard here tonight speaking on SB365. Pretty much it's the bill to get rid of the library board, the state library board, and give it to the Department of Education. And we're going to ask her a few questions about her dealings with the Arkansas library system and Saline County library system at fact, and just some of the experiences that are going on right now. So, how you doing tonight, Sarah?
Not bad. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
So, I'm going to go ahead and play a couple videos real quick. Give me a minute. I got to figure out this computer stuff here. So, pretty much, Keith Kellum actually went and spoke on this bill. I'm going to play that video real quick and get it pulled up.
Perfect person to talk about this because he's very involved in this.
Yeah, he's been on this for a while now.
Yeah.
All right, share sound, share screen, and
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Keith Kellum. I'm a Justice of the Peace of Saline County, but I'm here on my own behalf. And first off, I want to commend Senator Sullivan and Representative Long for bringing this forth. To me, this has been a long time coming. As far as the ALA, the American Library Association, in my personal opinion, they're a terrible organization, or they have become, because they just are, if you read their website, they're more in a political organization that wants to promote this literature that to me is just indoctrination for kids, because I've read them and you're seeing them go around the table. And as far as the library board, in our county, and I'm speaking as a citizen, they've been asked to move them. They're not doing anything. It's like they don't care. And I don't know what the fascination is to not move these books. But that's all that's been asked from the beginning, which was 2 or 3 years ago. And they just said, no, we're not doing it. And I don't know if it's because they want children to see these, but it's not a book banning, it's not a defunding, it's just do the right thing. I mean, it's common sense if you read these books. They're not appropriate for children. You know, I mean, realistically, if parents want their children to have these books, you can buy them online. But, you know, children can't, adult books they can't buy. So why can they go in the library? These are not private. They talk like they're private libraries. Taxpayers pay these, and I've knocked on doors before, and 3/4 of the people don't want this. So, but you know, the tune of wokeness and DEI and all that, which they change around to DIE, it's the same thing. They're just. They just don't want to cooperate. So I think it's time for drastic measures. So I support this bill, and I hope all of you support it, because it didn't have to come to this, but I think it has. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kellum. Are there any questions by the committee? Seeing no questions by the committee, thank you for being here, and thank
that was Justice of the Peace District 4, Keith Kellum, actually doing what you voted him in for. And
Yes.
he's right. He's right. These books are insane. And most of these people on the state library board, that's what the main part of the bill is just trying to get rid of the state library board and put it underneath the Arkansas Department of Education. So what do you think about that so far, Miss Sarah?
You know, I would have actually, if I were Keith, I would actually name the books and what they are about. And I would actually talk about the American Library Association and what they stand for, because they have a written statement in their what we call in their website that he talked about, that it's like totally tubular with communist agenda, social agenda, And they actually, yeah, as he said they portrayed them. So I don't have the exact definition and how they wrote it, but they actually promote themselves, as a social justice, and they wanted to bring, this kind of um, social justice and taking the stigma from, the LGBTQ community. So they're pretty, uh, like open about what they want to do. And the problem is that when we go through this meeting for reconsideration of a material with the library goes back to ALS, like the American Library Association.
Mm-hmm.
And they will say, okay, based on uh, the catalog, or there are two other like resources that they use, um, they said, okay, these books are good. They're recommended. As I had many in kind of like I talked to the director. I mean, my battlefield is Saline County Library, and I
Mm-hmm.
talked to Miss SP many times, and every time I bring these books that I wanted to be reconsidered, she mentions they're educational, and I'm trying to find them on my phone, the books that she considered them educational, and we have a good list of this uh, because these books are not educational. Yeah, it's recommended by the what's the name, but their author. But I want to share with you one of the authors' um, personal biography and how she introduced herself. Um, in the little kind of, yeah, Kristen Randall. She, they, it's a queer, fat, neurodivergent author of uh, queer book, queer books. When they are not writing joyful stories for the next generation of geeky gay kids, you can find them working at their local library branch or at home planning all the D&D campaigns they run one day. They swear Christian lives in Covington, Kentucky. The No Girlfriend Rules is her debut novel. So this is this is the author. She
Mm-hmm.
she introduced herself as a queer fat person, you know, and so this author recommends a book that has pornographic and vulgar language for age from eighth grade, which is age 14 to 13 to like 17 years old. So they go by that. But when we ask about what about the community, I even mentioned that I'm a foreigner. I moved into America like around 12 years ago, and I know this is a Bible Belt of America. People are more religious than New York City. Why you have these books? At least move them to the adult section, and they will keep saying that no, we are wanted to cater to minority, and also, like people that we want to cater everyone, so we don't want to be discriminative against these people. So we have to have these books in a specific section, which is all under most of the books that we have problem with them. They're on the health section for teenagers.
Yeah, the
Imagine
teen
you are
health section is what they're called.
in health section, yeah, and you imagine we were all teenagers, yeah.
Yes,
So
we are.
we imagine you walk to a library, you go to the section, you grab a book, and then you open a page like sex uncensored introduction for sex. This is the book, one of the book that I made reconsideration request against it. And you will see then in this book that talks about, which is kind of like sex manual. We
Yeah,
basically
pretty much. I've
complain.
seen the pages of it. Oh,
Yes.
it's
And there's a PDF that even I shared about this book, that
mm-hmm.
why this book shouldn't be in the hands of your children, because it talks about what about poop? There's one section talks about what about
Yeah,
poop, and
talks
it goes
about putting inappropriate things in a very in a place where the sun don't shine.
at how to change your position if you had pain. And then there's also blip of the other book. It's called The V Word, and it's wrote by Amber J. Kaiser. And then she said, one of the blip of the book is in back of the book. It says, I am mutant or something because it didn't hurt the first time. So these are the blip that I can show you on my phone. In the
Oh,
back
here,
of the
hold up, hold
book.
up. Let me actually pull that up. Do you have that?
Yes. And then it's like this is this is how they promote the book. Like you know how like some people they talk about, like or they put their opinion about a book in the back of the book cover so they encourage the person to read it. This is one of the blips that they choose. We were far too absorbed in good, yes, slick, hot, more now to ask ourselves if we were ready, you know? So this has like a kind of like a teen language. And then the other blip says it was the first time I had ever made someone moan. I felt capable, powerful. So you tell me this book is good for 14 years old. I even explained to them because I'm a healthcare like provider and I am educator. I might not spend most of my life in America, but I know the
Here's
base.
that book right here.
Yes, the V word, yeah. And then I told them I can introduce you to books that they talk about anatomy, physiology. You know, if you want to teach like for kids how to have, like they do sex eds. So I was like, we can introduce you to those books if you guys don't have the knowledge, to look for it.
It
We
says
can,
grade level 9 through 12. Wow.
yeah. And then we are wonder why we have so much teen pregnancy, we have so much abortion, we have so much adoption problem within our community. And I mentioned to them in my meeting to Miss SB, I said, this is a gateway that you open to a child or teenager that instead of choosing to become astronaut, they can be a drug addict underneath it or sex addict.
Or they could be an OnlyFans model.
Yes. No, I mean like so you are pursuing and you're changing the models and education rules for children. So as a parent, I have to sit down and explain to my child there might be these books in the library, which I don't mind, but a lot of people they don't want to have this conversation with their kids. And it also takes the beauty of going and spending time in a library because you're always worried. You
And
are
that's the issue right there because I go to the East End branch of the library. Oh, and they just built it. It's a pretty good thing, but I've got to make sure that nothing is there. It's like every book they get out. I was like, bring that book to me first. I'm gonna look it up.
They
You got a video
always
game
have
there?
excuses. They always said we didn't read the whole book. I even asked SB, I said, have you read the
Most
book?
of these people never even saw the book or had the book in their hand.
Listen,
Actually, where's that video that I showed you earlier? I want to play this video right here.
they go to the catalog, yes, that they have. I asked even Miss SB, I said, do you read the book? I send you a specific email that I mentioned the books that I'm trying to put the reconsideration on it. Have you read the book? She said, no. I said, so why we have this conversation? I come to this meeting with expectation that you read the book and you know what I'm coming from. And she's like, no, we didn't read it. Oh, maybe it would be a part of the book, but not in a whole, like concept of the book talks about this thing. I'm like, yes, it does. We don't focus and zoom in one particular part of this books. This book, the whole book, it talks about different way to have sex and how to treat your private parts with other people and how
Exactly.
to feel about it.
Well, I'm going to show you this video right here. This is from the state. This is from the state library board actually, with Mr. Jason Rappart. And if you guys want, look up Jason Rappart on YouTube and you can watch this whole video and it's just a mess. But this woman right here is the one thing that stuck out with me because like this conversation right here, we're talking about they haven't even looked at these books. They haven't even looked at the material. This one right here is the reason why we're having so much trouble right now, in my opinion. So I'm going to do this again. Share the sound. And this is Miss Lape Pene de Martinez. Ma'am, I'm sorry if I messed your name up. That's okay.
Instead of just taking at face value, I went and took the list of books, found. Thank you. I do believe that what I have to say relates directly to the motion because the premise is that our libraries are not, the comment today was in front of children as young as 10 years old. So what I did, instead of just taking at face value, I went and took the list of books, found the authors, then I found their classification. I also went into 3 different sources. I went to WorldCat, Good Old Artificial Intelligence, and then I went into the Mockingbird system. And here's basically what it told me. Our boards and our librarians are doing everything in their power to respect the local sentiment. And so if I may explain, when I went through WorldCat, yes, you can see in column D that a lot of the books were for young adults, children. There was only one book that was classified as children's literature as young as 10. The other ones in the World Catalog, only 3 others had any grade level recommendations. And when I looked, one of the books, Lucky, that is even by the World categorized as an adult book, so it's not even in question. The other one, The Glass Castle, a book that I have read, is autobiographies and also a nonfiction, and it's categorized as an adult. And then when I went over to Copilot, it was pretty much comparable to those categories. When I went into our system, which unless I misused Mockingbird somehow, I went through and so many of them had no call number. So that leads me to believe that our libraries are already putting the books in another section. And you can see clearly on lines 10, 19, and 15, those are all bolded. Those books are already set aside to adults. And then the ones that are, I'm sorry, my 9-year-old just made it home from school. Gracias, mijo. I apologize for that. Yeah, mijo, estoy en un momento muy importante. The young adult books, those are clearly marked as young adult. So, and this has been my sentiment all along, and I finally took the time to look for myself, how are the books being cataloged by our libraries in the state? If they do even have them, right? Because you can see where the X's are not even there. And I'm assuming that means they don't have them. And so I also have my own motion to propose. I, of course, want to honor Mr. Rayburn. He put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, pretty much. I went on the internet and they weren't there. Didn't even actually make a look into these libraries. So that's our state library board. If she would have went to the teen health section, she would have seen these books in there.
Yeah, basically, I mean, I don't know what she's talking about, but I looked up like WordCat, and it says the world's largest library catalog helping you find library materials online. And it has catalog books. It's just kind of like, I think they're the resource center to catalog their books and figure it out like which section they would put in it, something like that. But again, she mentioned we wanted to respect the community, yes, and it's based on the community.
A lot of the community is saying we don't want this.
Yeah, that's the
That's why there's legislation going through.
the problem is that these people are so disconnected and so focused on what they want to do. At the beginning, I was giving them a benefit of the doubt. I was like, maybe they don't know, they just maybe, sometimes you make mistake in your job. you're not going to read like 5,000 books that is in your library, maybe one of them slipped through. But they've been having this battle with the local people, and every time, we approach them, we will get the same answer that it's based on the catalog. It's been, reference for this group. Because I used very vulgar, like kind of like the language of the book with Miss SB on my last reconsideration material. And I mentioned to her, like, how come a 14-year-old needs to know where to put his private part? How come this knowledge is educational to I have a 14-year-old son. How come this would be educational to him? He just walks to the library and read this book that's talk about you can put your private part between pillows and how you feel about it. This
Yeah,
is
it
the
shouldn't it
level of
shouldn't be like that. We should
education.
be teaching simple things like how to have a baby and that's it. And not so much how to have a baby, how to prevent having a baby at your young age when you're not even, mentally prepared, let alone physically, financially prepared. That's what it used to be back in the day. Now it's just like it's about like you said, it's about feelings and how it makes you feel good about yourself and all that and just, kind of the hippy dippy freedom of love, all that nonsense.
They're opening a Pandora box to a child that doesn't feeling is very strong things for them. Yes, they wanted to feel, they wanted to be accepted. And it's kind of bring a trends and peer pressure on this age group to have sex and do this kind of material and then watch, it will end up to the watching pornography. And we know what happened to all these people, that they will be, going entangled to such addiction. But the thing is that my problem as a mother is that why you robbing a first kiss moment from our children?
Yeah.
A
Why are you
first
robbing their innocence? Yeah.
Why they're robbing you robbing the and so like imagine like our generation we wait, we kind of like we we kind of were trying to discover or understand, but we didn't have the knowledge how to kind of like deal with this situation because nobody would talk to us. But we knew the basic that we're not
Hmm.
supposed to have. I mean, I grew up in a Muslim country. My father would cut my head off if I had sex, that's my situation. But when I knew if I do this, there's the consequences, and my society will not
Exactly.
accept.
That's what we're not learning. I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off, but that's the exact same thing that we're talking about. It's not teaching the consequences. It's about self-awareness. It's about how you feel. Like just like you said, there's no consequences in this. There's no, oh, if you do this, you're going to end up having a child and you're going to be responsible for it.
Yeah,
They
because
don't
they
even teach you
will introduce
responsibility for the
them to
child.
abortion. Yes, they will introduce them to abortion, abort the kid because it's form of, birth control. And then if they survive, go through all these entanglements, psychological backlashes and problems that comes with drug addiction, all this stuff. If they survive, then they have time to think about their future, build their country, and focus on building a family. That's the problem. They introduce these opinions and um, kind of they open the Pandora box in very early age. Why a 6-year-old needs to know this? If female or male, doesn't matter. This
Hmm.
is not important for them. They need to focus on algebra. Why the importance of science and like mathematics being a there is no social figure for these children. They wanted to be TikToker or they wanted to be influencer, and just making money because that's been kind of like the lowest of the lowest being introduced to them.
Exactly. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to be an influencer too, but I had to take the responsible route and actually get a real job first.
The thing is that my other thing that I was mentioning, that you taking the innocent, you're taking the well, how can I say that? Like you taking the beauty and the love a true love connection between a female and male person, you know.
Well, they're taking out the female and male part too out, and they're making it,
Yeah, but I mean, now we
male,
are in the
male, female,
age
female.
of Donald Trump, so we can talk about this. So you are taking the beauty of making a true connection between a male and female to build a firm foundation and have a family, raise children, and be a backbone of this country and future of this country. You're taking that away by replacing it to a lost and instant feeling and just, you know, quick uh, method of having a like short-term connection with teenagers. That's how they grow up. There was actually a study in Canada that they were talking about how, you know, like just like a small act of um like the kissing or touching, it's kind of fading from teenagehood. They don't know how to touch, how to kiss, how to feel the other person because they're not introduced to it. They just want their business to be done and both sides get away from each other. That's it. That's what they learned through education system, through watching, you know, online pornography, books. That's what they know, and that's what they want to practice. So there's no incentive for them to go further than that because that's what they learn.
It's the destruction of the nuclear family. That's all it is, clear and simple. They want to destroy mom and dads. They want to make it this weird, perverted thing where you just get what you want out of a relationship and throw it away. Same thing
And
with children.
yeah,
They don't want children. They butcher babies and all this stuff.
in the name of many other things. But the other thing is that um the people they don't consider. I even talked to what is the name?
Oh, sorry. My bad. I pushed a button.
Oh, that's okay. Homeschoolers kind of like family because they have each Wednesday they go to the library, you know, and they have their own program with their kids. And I was talking to them and I said, you guys shouldn't think that you are kind of shielding yourself from this destructiveness because your children are going to grow up in a society that they have to interact with other kids, you know. You can, yeah, teach them to the point, but at some point when they are younger adult, they have to interact with the society, you know. They have to work for the company that the head of, you know, like a CEO is a lesbian, one day she wants to be transgender, wants to be female, another day she will come with the attitude that she wants to be male, to be called with certain pronouns. So your kid's gonna deal with this in future. Putting your head, you know, on the ground and then just like doing, I don't hear this. It's not effective way. You need to get involved and you
Exactly.
open your
Parents need to.
eye.
Yes, one of the main things that these library people who are for all these nasty books in the library is they say you need to parent your kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, one, my state
Crazy.
tax dollars pay for these buildings and all this stuff and all the books that go into. Why should my tax dollars pay for these books that I can't even let my child walk around a building that I help pay for and have the confidence and the security that he's not going to pick up something and be like, what is this, Dad? And I'm going to be stuck there with like, and
It's not
honestly, I don't know, son.
you make it, you know, like the apple, it's a good example for Snow White. You have an apple that's poisonous, you know, and put it in the middle of your dining table and then when your kid gets around it, because it's an apple, they want to eat it, and you keep telling them, don't eat it. Do not eat it.
Hmm.
Don't touch it. Don't eat it.
That's exactly what it is. It's the carrot. It's the carrot they put out there for the rabbit.
Yes. So they even told me that if you have problem with this books, give us a list of the books that you wanted to check out. We will bring it to the counter for you and you can, you know, you can leave. And I'm like, I don't have problem with most of the books in this library. I have problem with certain ones. Why don't you separate those books? If you don't want to separate them, label them. Put a rainbow sticker on it. I wouldn't
I
touch.
absolutely agree with that. And personally, if any legislator is listening right now, we need a red letter on them. they need to have a big red label on the back of the spine where it says adult material in this book. But
Yes.
they're probably not going to go for that.
They're not, no, because the Miss So and so, the fat queer lady, she recommended for our children, and it's part of her autobiography and talking about her experience. That's very important for us to know. There is no incentive. The problem is that when you get away from God and you choose your own system to be in place, that's what we deal with. You deal with the mayhem. And now we are getting to the point that it's getting more stupid and stupid. You have to define females and males. You have to define marriage. You have to define a baby, because they just brainwash and whitewash
Because
everything.
they're stripping all definitions.
Yes, this is
Babies are
wild.
parasites.
It's just like doctors will do that, and they don't want to even talk about it. A lot of minority community, they're not agree with this. I part of the Iranian American community, they don't agree with this, but they don't have most people that they are making money and they're taxpayer. They work. They don't have time really to spend in this, and most people also they don't like confrontation. On top of that, if you are a migrant, you don't want to really deal with this. You just want to send your kids to school, become doctor, lawyer, somebody important, and then just move on with your life. So we
Well,
have
even not even just immigrants, it's also just everyone. Most people don't even know this is going on.
this most people they don't know even because
Most people only knew about it when, surprise, look what we found.
yes, because the older generation of America would say they don't even have, most of them I talk to them, they don't even have library cards, so they don't know what's going on. Okay. And then for them they raise their children. So they're just done. They're ready for the other kind of like the continuation of their lives. They just want to be, left alone, deal with a little bit of the politics, and after that, that's it.
Sorry, I got to hoodlum.
That's the other thing I want to bring up. When I was in the reconsideration process with Miss SB, they had a lawyer on the phone without even letting us know that there was a lawyer gonna be in the meeting, because we had prior.
Oh, well, could you explain this meeting real quick before you get started on that?
Yeah. Do you want me to go ahead?
Yeah, explain the meeting that you're in.
So it was in February 8th. We were supposed to meet up for reconsideration material. So when you ask, you have to send an email to the director, sit down with her, talk about why you want this book to be, like reconsider it. Then she will give you a form, you fill out the form, then the form will be read by the committee that she will choose, and they never disclose the people that they are in that committee. And then after that, they will say yes or no, this book needs to be removed. In the process, the books multiply because they will buy the books for all the members of the committee to read it. We don't know what's going on. So when I went last time, which was February, yeah, with Cody, she was my I asked her to come because she's my friend, and then as an observer, they call her. We walked, and then from the door to the actual meeting room, there's like we were talking about like 2 seconds, 3 seconds. So Miss Espy, she had plenty of time to tell me that, by the way, we're gonna have so and so on the phone. Never mentioned in the email, never mentioned, taking us to the room, that they're gonna be a lawyer that represents the library. And so I sat down, and then this lawyer started talking to us, schmoozing us, kind of figured out what we are, who we are. Then he went to his lawyer mode, and he said that there's a post on your social media with your face on it, and then the library logo that says Saline County provides porn for kids, or it's porn club for kids. And then he said, let me bring this to the elementary level. I was so mad when he said that. And I said, you don't need to bring it to elementary level. I have a master degree and I understand what you want to talk about. So this is so anti-immigration. You know, they want to talk about minority. They are the one that they don't like person like me that I can
Mhm.
speak of my mind because he heard my voice. He didn't see me because he was on the phone and he could hear my accent. That's the only thing I can kind of like analyze this. That and because I was thinking, I was like, why he told me this? He could start his conversation with many different words, but he said, let me bring it to the elementary level. And I told him you don't need to. So these people, by definition, they think anybody that stand against them are uneducated, morons, sorry, okay, that they
Mhm.
wanted to just bring like the religious side of the facts, which for them is so beneath them to accept and understand God, you know, but they can understand abortion. And so that was the beginning, and I was like, this is so discriminatory because if I want to go talk to the Saline County, like the meeting they have, the monthly meeting they have, I have to write my name and I have to mention what I'm going to talk about. Then if they permit me, I can talk for certain, you know, kind of like a minute, and they just throw a lawyer in this situation because it's a fear factor, you know, because he was keep telling me you have to remove the posts, or we're gonna do. So I have to sit down with my client and make a serious, you know, decision about this. Which, and he told me, he said, "Do you believe this? This is a pornography. Like we provide pornography to children." I said, "Yeah, I do believe it. That's why I talked about it in my post, because you're providing pornography." And he was arguing with me on definition of porn. What do you know? What's the definition of porn? I said, I don't know what's the definition of your porn or what kind of material you were exposed to. But for the common educational, if you go to the state level, if you Google pornography, it will tell you, and this is against exactly the material that you're providing to the children are exacting that shouldn't be here. Because I told them, I said, if I rip a page of this book and take it outside this library, people see it, they would say this is shouldn't be next to a child, you know.
Exactly.
But we were like arguing what's the definition of porn for these people, and they truly believe these books are educational.
And that's the crazy part of it. And
Mhm.
I don't think is that I think they know what's going on. They just want to, this is my opinion, they just want to try and alter the way the culture is. That's all it is. It's
Yeah,
changing the
yeah.
culture.
Never argue with ignorance, and that's what it is. I mean, I'm just pushing through, you know, with these people, and I pray for them. You know, that's the only thing I can do, so they will see through what they're doing, because they all have kids. You see that even the lady that she was talking about the material, they have kids. So they have the
Hmm.
choice to read this
Actually, if you
material.
watch that video, a lot of them, they all go to church too. And
Yeah,
they're all for this stuff.
yes, and one of them
Jason
actually.
Rappert, he actually mentions he says, I bet if you brought any of these books into your church, I bet your pastor wouldn't even talk to you or something like that.
Mhm.
I'm gonna link the video in the bio whenever this is all done. I'm sorry to actually get a full definition in the video. I've been rushing around all day.
Thank you, but I understand it. One of them actually told me that he put his Christianity behind the door when he walks to the library, so he wants to be fair to everyone. So that's the definition of Christianity they have.
Hmm. Well, everyone, we got about 5 more minutes, so I'm gonna take this opportunity to say thank you, Sarah, for coming tonight. And I kind of really want to. You said you had an article that you're about to put out. Do you know where you're going to put it?
The article is actually about a different different subjects, but comparing IRGC, the Iranian militia, which we call it Pasdaran. I compared it with Democratic Party and how they both bash on female, and they're kind of like figurine of the female in the society. But I would say Linda Harvey, she has a podcast called The Stand in American Family Radio, and it's gonna be on April 18 at 4:30 Central. People can listen to that, and she's gonna actually talk about Saline County and reconsideration process, that all the material and the information we shared with her. So it's gonna be interesting how it's gonna turn out.
I read a little bit of the first part of it. It sounds pretty interesting myself. So I'm gonna go ahead and promote Arkansas First. If you guys ever get opportunity, y'all want to know what's going on in Arkansas, there's not a lot of good conservative news groups out there. There's one or two good ones, but I'd like to say that this one is a good one. I'll click
That is
over
true.
here and show it off. If y'all ever get the opportunity, go to Arkansas First. We also have the Arkansas First Committee. If you actually come to this webpage, you can actually sign up for it, and you can actually be a part of the change that we're trying to institute here and get these books out of here. There's a whole bunch of different podcasts on here. There's a whole bunch of writers on here. They do really great work. There's Jimmy Cabin. There's us, the Saline Hardliners with Keith Kellum. And there's Cody
Lancaster,
Crumpton. What's that?
yeah, and Lancasters.
Yes, and Lancaster, Jennifer Lancaster. She's written a few articles on here. Clint and Kitty Barf. You guys have got to read some Kitty Barf.
That's true.
And if you guys want to contact us at Saline Hardliners, contact us at salinehardliners@gmail.com. And Sarah, thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I hope more people get involved in this and project their voice and be a leader in their community and make changes for the future generation.
Amen. I wish a lot more people get involved. All right. Saline. All right, let me do that. Saline Hardliners, we're out.
We didn't know.